Hi everybody, it's me. Welcome to week 5. I wanted to make this video earlier this week, but as it happens, the weeks sail by and I still have work to do on Friday when I kind of close out the day. So things are moving quickly. In chapter 5, we start talking about bilingualism, language development, that kind of stuff. Woolfolk gives you a little bit of a background as far as how language development works, the idea of coding and how early that starts within your primary language, and then the idea of syntax and the development of syntax around the ages of 5 and 6. Interestingly enough, they say by the ages of 5 and 6, we actually know about how to situationally place about 20,000 words, and then primarily we use about 2,600 words. So I think that's an interesting statistic. It also gets into talking about language development and then bilingualism and how that looks in the classroom, and why this is important to you, or how you can relate it to you, is this idea that in speaking with a variety of administrators in Western Kansas, they really do look for people who have their ESOL endorsement, or basically helping English speakers of other languages, and it is an endorsement or a certificate that you add on to your teaching certificate. It's highly sought after because it's very much like special education, only in the realm of language development, because it helps you make adaptations in the classroom for those types of learners. Also this week you're going to watch a really good video called Immersion. It opens up a whole can of worms as far as looking at everyone's perspective, and then looking at some of the inequities with regard to dual immersion, which is learning your primary language and learning a secondary language at the same time, which is usually the most common way of approaching dual language learning in education, K through 12. One of the things that the book does a good job of talk about is in the guidelines area. It talks about promoting learning and how you can promote learning within your classroom. So that is a really interesting thing. It gives you some tips and tricks that very much stem off of that ESOL certificate, like how to scaffold learning, how to learn the ideas behind grammar and syntax, and then a little bit of it goes into the social and emotional part of the learner, which is any new learner needs that support with regard to self-esteem and emotional support in the classroom. And then lastly, one of the biggest things it talks about is this idea of providing support for the family, because if the family isn't a native speaker, it's very hard for you to communicate with them in the classroom and find out what the student is doing. And so you can provide notes that go home in multi-languages, as long as you have someone who's translating that and making sure it all makes sense grammatically in that language. Secondarily, having support for those students culturally is important. They already feel like an outsider, and so that's where that emotional and social support come in, and helping their self-esteem. If you've ever tried to speak a second language, or you've been to a foreign country where you don't speak that language, it is very taxing on your self-esteem and your ability to really feel confident that you know what you're doing, and it completely displaces you as the learner. It's very intimidating. So those are all really important things to think about as you read through this chapter. I have a friend that is bilingual, and even one of the things they cite as a huge part is the bicultural aspect of integrating into a new society where you don't know the culture, and it throws you for a loop all the time, and you're trying to be part of it, but you just don't understand, or you don't fit in. Again, I think it's hard to place ourselves in those instances unless we've had firsthand accounts with them. So very interesting chapter. The biggest things I would look at is look at the process of dual immersion and how that is looked at in the school systems. Do a little bit of research. It is important. Look at the SIOP method and different ways of assessing students. And then lastly, look at those areas that are in guidelines. They give you ideas on how to promote learners, how to promote self-esteem, and then how to support families in those areas of bilingualism. So anyway, I hope you have a great week. Enjoy your weekend, and we will move on to chapter 6 next week. And I think I have some preloaded videos, and I might add some more depending on what kind of research I find and what I find interesting. I always try to bring new things to the table, and again, if you find anything, you are welcome to post them on the Google community. I will see you later. Take care. Bye.